What?
They released a new iMac.
Are you serious? Dude, what'd I get right?
Everything.
Hey guys, it's Vadim with Max Tech, and today I am a happy guy because Apple has finally redesigned their iMac, and I actually got quite a few of the predictions from yesterday's video correct. And I'm pretty sure that I was the only one in the tech space who thought that the chin might actually stick around. But anyway, in this video, I'm gonna go through everything new with the Apple Silicon iMac. I'm gonna talk about what I got wrong and what I got right. And then I'm gonna talk about when we should be expecting the larger iMac with the M1X chip. So let's get right into it. Starting from the top, the iMac looks great in 7 different colors, which Jon Prosser basically nailed with that leak. It's also incredibly thin, precisely just 11.5 millimeters thick, which is surprisingly even thinner than just the bottom half of the MacBook Pro, which is mind-blowing. And if you're wondering how Apple achieved this, I explained it in yesterday's prediction video, where I mentioned that basically everything would be soldered onto the main logic board, drastically reducing the size since there's not going to be discrete graphics in all of the other components needed for the power-hungry Intel chips. And the crazy part was that they were able to fit it all behind the chin, which I'm glad I was right about. The only detail I got wrong was that I thought it would be drastically thinner, and I wasn't expecting them to remove the Apple logo or cover the entire front with a single sheet of glass, which honestly looks amazing. And another thing I didn't expect at all was that Apple would take the power supply out of the body and connect it to the all-new color-matched and braided power cable. And wow, that magnetic connection feature is definitely hinting at MagSafe coming to the redesigned MacBooks. And it's awesome that they were able to pack a gigabit Ethernet port into the brick as an upgrade option from the base model. I'm also glad that my prediction that the M1X chip wasn't ready was correct, even though I said there was a small chance that we could see it happen, but it looks like we're sticking with just the M1 chip on this iMac. Another prediction I made was that the iMac would pack in a fan, but Apple actually put in 2 of them, which is a bit surprising, but I'm glad to hear that it'll be a whisper quiet 10 decibels under typical use. This means that both of the fans will always be running, just like the current M1 Mac Mini does right now. The only difference is that Apple probably redesigned the fans to make them super quiet at idle speed. Another shocker was when Apple claimed that the new 6-speaker system on this iMac has better speakers than any Mac ever, which is surprising because the speakers on my current iMac Pro are incredible. But with 2 subwoofers that cancel out each other's vibrations along with a dedicated tweeter on each side, I totally believe that the sound quality is gonna be incredible. So if you wanna see a comparison to the current iMac Pro speakers, which are the best speakers out of any Mac, click the subscribe button below so you don't miss out. As far as the stand, it's now squared off, which basically everyone was expecting. And of course, it's permanently attached to the iMac, just like we thought it would be. And it's nice to hear that you can still order an iMac with a VESA mount adapter instead of the stand. Now, as far as the ports, I got them completely wrong. I thought that we'd basically have the same ports as the 21.5-inch iMac, with the SD card slot and USB-A ports, but Apple chose to go with up to 4 USB-C ports, with just 2 of them supporting Thunderbolt, as well as a headphone jack on the side, which is very convenient. It's also very interesting that the base model only gets 2 Thunderbolt ports, which requires a totally different motherboard compared to the more expensive models. So it looks like my theory on why there were 2 leaked iMac identifiers within beta code turned out to be right. As far as the display, the 24-inch size leaks were correct, and I am extremely happy that my 4.5K display resolution prediction was correct, since 5K is definitely overkill for a 24-inch display. So I based my prediction on Apple hitting a target of 218 pixels per inch, which they did with 4.5K resolution. Except for some reason, I totally messed up and I thought that it would have a 16:10 aspect ratio, but at least I got the 4480 horizontal pixel count spot on. Another prediction I got right was the 1080p Facetime camera, and because of the M1 chip, it should look incredible with new software features added thanks to the new neural engine. And something that surprised me was that they said that this iMac will have the best microphone system in any Mac using a 3-microphone array with beamforming. In yesterday's video, I also claimed that Apple would color match the keyboard and the mouse to the iMac body color that you choose, so I'm glad that I was right. But man, there are gonna be a lot of different SKUs. However, one thing that I got totally wrong was that I did not believe that Apple would be able to get Touch ID into the Magic Keyboard, since it would require your sensitive data to travel to the iMac wirelessly. But I guess that Apple was able to figure it out. I personally thought that they would go with Face ID instead, since we had some leaks within macOS beta code. But I guess we're gonna have to wait and see for maybe larger iMacs or the redesigned MacBooks to get Face ID. Now, one prediction from yesterday's video that I got totally spot on was the starting price of $1,300. And the reason I thought that was because that was the price of the Retina 4K 21.5-inch model, which this new one directly replaces. And yes, people are gonna gladly cough up $1,300 for an M1 chip powered iMac because of the amazing new redesign, just like I said in yesterday's video. And if you think about it, the M1 chip is already amazing, with an 85% faster CPU than the 21.5-inch iMac models, and a GPU that's 50% faster than the best Vega 20 discrete graphics option in some real-world workflows. And because it's got the same M1 chip, we have the exact same 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of SSD storage at the base price, and up to 16 gigs of RAM and 2 terabytes of storage, which perfectly matches the options on the M1 Mac Mini, just as we expected. However, there are a couple of disappointments, so let's get right into those. First off, we can't order it until the last day of this month, and it won't even ship until the second half of May, which is a huge bummer because we want them right now. And the second disappointment is the fact that the base model only gets a 7-core GPU, but it's not that big of a deal because in our testing with a thermal pad modded base MacBook Air, the 7-core GPU wasn't that much slower than the MacBook Pro's 8-core. But I'd say that the even bigger disappointment is not getting the extra 2 USB-C ports on the base model, as well as not getting the Ethernet ports on the power supply that's included. And we also shouldn't be surprised that it only officially supports one external display, since that's a limitation with the M1 chip. But on the plus side, you do get a USB-C to Lightning cable in the box for charging the mouse, compared to the old USB-A version. Now here's a really interesting detail that I just noticed. The 24-inch iMac comes with an 143-watt power adapter, which is absolutely overkill for the M1 iMac, even with the 4.5K display. So because of that, I believe that Apple created this power adapter with the larger future iMac in mind, so they only have one power adapter for all of the redesigned iMac models. So with that, let's finish off this video with my predictions for the larger iMac that we're expecting to come later this year. I personally have a pretty good feeling that it's actually going to be called the iMac Pro. So the 24-inch iMac will be the only regular iMac model, and we're gonna have a 30 to 32-inch iMac Pro as a replacement for the 27-inch iMac. Because of that, I believe that the iMac Pro is gonna be coming this December, since that's when the previous iMac Pro and the Mac Pros were always released. On top of that, it'll most likely come with a chin, since Apple kept it for the 24-inch model. But I definitely think that the overall body size and thickness is not gonna be nearly as thin because it's gonna need a more powerful cooling system. But I have a good feeling that Apple is gonna reuse the same exact 1080p webcam, the same exact speaker system, and the microphone system as well. But as far as all of the crazy colors, I do not think that the iMac Pro is getting those color options. They're gonna keep it very subtle and neutral like they always do for their Pro products. So probably just space gray or space black, or maybe even a silver option. It's almost certainly gonna come with a 6K display, and it'll come with the M1X chip at the base price, the same one that's gonna be coming in the MacBook Pros. But it's also gonna have an option for an even better chip, potentially the M1Z, as well as 1 or 2 dedicated GPU options. And in terms of the pricing, I think that Apple's gonna be going with a $3,000 starting price for the base model, which is a good middle ground between the 27-inch iMac and the iMac Pro retail prices. But I do want to let you know that it's way too early to know any of this stuff for sure. But if you enjoyed my predictions for the 24-inch iMac, then definitely click the circle above to subscribe, because we're going to be getting our hands on those next month and testing them out, and you don't want to miss it. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.